During the spending review speech at the House of Commons, our current Chancellor George Osborne said this: "Those with the broadest shoulders should bear the greatest burden." Following various policy announcements made on that day, I believe we're about to see the poorest in our country being lent on to fund our country's financial deficit. There is no doubt that Britain is in debt and the deficit has to be reduced. It's a question of how it's done. The current government is debating raising university fees that will burden our students with debt. UKIP has always been against this. Our policy is to, as and when possible, return to a grant-based system for university fees. We certainly don't think that students should have to pay back £9,000 of fees as and when they find work in later life. Many older people here in the UK will have sensibly saved for their retirement years, hoping to retire between 60 and 65. For many, this will no longer be achievable. Recent changes have been announced regarding retirement ages for men and women, and many will now have to work longer. Mr Osborne said this:
"This will involve a gradual increase in the state pension age from 65 to 66 starting in 2018, and it will mean an acceleration of the increase in the female pension age already underway since this April. From 2016, the rate of increase will be 3 months in every 4, rather than the current plan of 1 month in every 2. Raising the state pension age is what many countries are now doing, and will, by the end of the next Parliament, save over £5 billion a year."
UKIP will provide a citizen's pension for all British pensioners aged 65 or over. If you want to continue past then into later years, that's fine. And also, we'll remove the unnecessary means testing of your pension. Here are the views of James Bartholomew on our welfare state.
Nearly 1 in 5 households in Britain is workless.
People want to have some kind of safety net, but Britain has provided one of the worst forms of welfare benefits of any leading country. Other systems around the world are much more demanding. Even in Sweden or Switzerland, after a certain time, for a while you're given generous benefits, but then the window closes and you are expected to get a job. You are expected, regardless of your qualifications, to take any job.
Last year, the government spent more on welfare than it raised in income tax. Of course, some folk need assistance. They genuinely can't work for a variety of reasons. But each of us has, I believe, a responsibility to find work if we are able. But we have a benefits system that, depending on individual circumstances, often does not always reward those who work. UKIP will make changes to the benefits system. We will also take minimum wage earners out of paying tax by raising the current tax threshold to £11,500. You can earn more before you pay tax. It will be worth going to work. Of course, you are asking, how are we going to do this? Well, consider this. We pay over £45 million a day into the European Union. Is it really right to pay so much into a bureaucratic, wasteful organisation, and yet we ask our youngest, our poorest and our elderly to pay more? Here is just a small part of a recent European budget debate in Strasbourg.
But if I find it stunning that in times of crisis this EU is looking to increase its own budget, I find it more difficult to explain that the European Parliament wants to double its own entertainment budget. Are we saying that the UK is axing child benefits and university funding, postponing school building schemes and making other painful cuts just to fund more champagne and oysters for the European Parliament? Is it reasonable for the UK to make military spending cuts while its net contribution to the European Union will increase from around £6 billion to £8 billion in the next couple of years? This is simply unacceptable for the British people. Thank you.
You can do something about this. Stand up and say no to the other party's plans. Stand up and say no to paying into the EU. Vote UKIP. Join UKIP. You can change things. Thanks for watching.